Peace. Today I wanted to build with you about one of our lessons in 120, in particular the 38th degree in our 1 to 40. We have our 1 to 40s, which is 40 lessons that we also learn. So I'm talking about the 38th lesson in that particular segment of 120. We also have our actual facts and solar facts, which belongs to 120 as well. But that lesson asks us the question, why did God make devil? Or tell us, why did God make devil? And the answer to that question is to show forth and prove our power, that we are all wise and righteous, that we can make a devil, which is weak and wicked, give him the power to rule the earth for 6,000 years, and then destroy the devil in one day without falling victim to the devil's civilization. Otherwise, show and prove that a wise God always has been and always will be.
I'm Richard D. Hall. Today I am going to be talking about the work of Nigel Kerner. Now, Nigel authored his first book in 1997, and to discuss these books, I'm joined today by two of Nigel's researchers, Danielle Silverman. Welcome, Danielle.
Thank you.
And Professor John Biggerstaff. Welcome, John.
Hello, Richard. And what Nigel hypothesizes is that really, in the same way that I mess with organisms on plates, that these guys were messing with us as a species, really looking for advantageous genetics. They only care about whether they can mess with our genes more efficiently. And it turns out that the molecule melanin, actually, you know, when we mess with genetics and stuff, one of the ways in which we can do it is to use things like ultraviolet light to actually splice the genes in the cells and actually alter the genetics, or to get things to, you know, things we put in to actually take, so that we can almost microsurgically implant them in the cells. The thing is, if these cells have got a lot of melanin in them, it's a dark pigment, it tends to absorb that light and diffract it and turn it into vibrations, etc. And then the light just doesn't get where it's really supposed to go. And
Right.
But there is a special, do you want to explain the special about melanin and how it protects the cell, the DNA inside the nucleus? That's very important.
Part of the reason you can't do these experiments, you know, where there's a lot of melanin around, the melanin actually in a lot of people, in black people, it's actually spread out through the skin.
But there's no doubt in people with higher melanin, natural higher melanin, that it's far more likely that melanin will be coating the nucleus, the cell wall of the nucleus of the DNA. Now the point about that is that ultraviolet light, which is often used to splice DNA, is blocked by that melanin. It absorbs it. It doesn't allow it in to interfere with the DNA. And it could well be, and this is Nigel's thesis, that this was a blocker for them when they were trying to genetically alter the species. And therefore, when maybe just out of random mutation something like an albino came along, they discovered, wow, we can get straight in.
Right.
And it may well be that the paler skinned nation, people on the earth, maybe have that pale skin because of this genetic experimentation to make things easier for them. And in fact, Professor Steve Jones argues that this thing about vitamin D being, paler skin being there to allow vitamin D to be absorbed and so on, all these theories about why pale skin happened in the first place, he believes it's not an adequate explanation. There is no real explanation or justification for the need for pale skin at all.
Yeah, because I think if
dark skin is always an advantage in every circumstance. There's just no reason at all for pale skin.
You would want to absorb more light, and you know, I mean, why did we lose hair if we came to a colder climate, etc.
Yeah.
So obviously something's wrong with that idea.
Right.
So today I wanted to build briefly about the wisdom build degree, or the 28th lesson in our 1 to 40s. The question that we're asked is, what were Yakub's first rules and regulations, including all laws enforced while manufacturing the devil? And the answer to that degree is, Yakub's first rule was to see that all his followers were healthy, strong, and good breeders. If not, he sent them back, and all not good and multiplying had to marry at the age of 16. Next, Yakub gave his people laws on birth control, which was to be enforced while manufacturing the devil, which was destroy the alikes, save the unalikes, which means kill all the black babies, save the brown babies. This law was given to all doctors, ministers, nurses, and cremators. The doctor's law was to examine all those who were desiring to marry must first be qualified by the doctor. In turn, he qualified or disqualified them to the ministers. The ministers would only marry those who were unalike.
The nurse's law was to kill all black babies at birth by sticking a pin in its head or feeding it to some wild beast and telling its mother a lie that her baby was an angel baby and was only taken to heaven, and one day when she dies he'd have secured for her a home in heaven, but save all the brown babies and tell his mother that she was a lucky mother and her baby was a holy baby and she should take good care of it and educate it because one day he's going to grow to be a great man. All doctors, ministers, and nurses Yakub put under the death penalty if they failed to carry out this law. Also, the cremators would burn the black babies whenever the nurses would bring them. Also, death to anyone who revealed these secrets. There are other rules and regulations of Yakub's that are not mentioned in this lesson. And that is actually how that lesson is recited.
They're European or whether they're Asian, like me, we're actually mutants of the dark-skinned people.
One more important piece of the puzzle was found in 2005 when cancer researcher Keith Chang was studying the black and white stripes of zebrafish.
By chance, the light skin-colored fish that I used for that research also taught us a lot about how Europeans, how humans became lighter skinned.
Soon after, this identical genetic mutation was found in fair-skinned Europeans.
There was a magic moment in this research. When I got back the results that showed that the number and the size and the amount of pigment in the light-skinned zebrafish were all diminished, and the same thing happened in humans. When I opened the textbook and saw that same thing, I began to sweat. Not only did light-skinned people evolve from black-skinned people, but lighter-skinned people, whether they're European or whether they're Asian, like me, we're actually mutants of the dark-skinned people.
This was remarkable because we had only inferred on the basis of circumstantial evidence that this must have occurred in evolution, but we didn't have any concrete genetic evidence. Now we do.
People say this is the age of technology. They're wrong. This is the age of manipulation.